webradio.com.
This is americaswebradio.com, the best in chat radio designed just for you.
And welcome back to Officer's Oath, the Terry Lakin Action Show, right here on America's Web Radio. And online with us is Marco. And do we have Dave on as well?
No, Rudy Davis.
Rudy Davis. I'm sorry. Where did I get that? Looking at the wrong section. Sorry. But Rudy's there, right?
Rudy?
Hello, David. This is Terry Lakin.
Oh, Terry.
Terry.
Marco, so you did get in.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just in between patients. We're pretty busy, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there. But I just wanted to say hi to Rudy, too.
Well, Terry, I want to...
Rudy's...
Rudy hadn't made it yet, but Terry, I tell you, I love hearing from you because I can tell you've got a spark plug in your voice, and you didn't have it 2 months ago.
Well, it's I enjoy seeing patients, and I'm busy right now, so I don't want to keep them waiting more than just a few minutes. But I'm doing what I love to do. I certainly appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Marco and David and Rudy, and there's so many people out there that are still addressing a valid concern for our country.
Well, I think the country's going to continue to awaken to what you stood up for, and when your book comes out, I think it'll just be that many more folks will understand, and it'll be interesting. I think your book will be a lot like a well-read magazine that just keeps being passed from person to person. Have you read this story yet? You won't believe it, and I can't wait for it to come out.
All right, well, hey, Terry, glad you can make it. Do you need to get back to your patients?
I do, yes. And again, thank everybody out there for me. And Rudy is a wonderful guy. I wish I could stay for a few more minutes and talk to him, but I do need to run.
Rudy, you're on, right?
Yes, sir. Am I coming through okay, loud and clear?
Oh, you're great. Say hi to Terry, and he needs to leave.
Hey, Terry, go take care of your patients, and we thank you for your service and your action, sir.
Well, I thank you for what you're doing, too, Rudy. I appreciate it. You take care.
Absolutely.
All right, bye.
Terry.
So this is Rudy Davis, whose voice you just heard. Rudy was one of the first people that we interviewed, and it was a little surrealistic, Rudy. I don't know if you remember, but when I don't know if you got formally arrested, but you at least got accosted for handing out the flyers for Terry Lakin. And it was so weird to see that on the news because I had designed that flyer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's here with my flyer getting arrested. And it was so strange. Subsequently, we met, and you and I've talked many times. So, Rudy, you've been just so engaged with Terry's meeting. How did you first hear about Terry?
Well, Marco, I tell you, I would say back in the 2008 election, I considered myself a traditional conservative, traditional values. I was considered myself a Republican. I watched Fox News religiously, and something started to change. I mean, just I got sick of seeing some of the spin on Fox News, and I started to turn away from mainstream media into YouTube land, and I started to see a lot more truth, and it's kind of like the last watering hole of society where people can speak their minds and speak the truth. And so I started to, pay attention to a lot more things and to become awakened to my environment, a lot more activities. And one of my friends turned me on to a guy by the name of Pastor James David Manning, and then I started to listen to some of the things that he had to say, and then about the birth certificate and the eligibility. And then I saw Terry's YouTube video, where he said that he's inviting his own court-martial because he has questions about the eligibility of our, so-called president. And I just say I got really excited, and the more I started looking into it, and I didn't try to have a biased opinion. I started, just looking at the facts and seeing what was going on, and I just became convinced that there's something going on here. There's something not right. There's something that's screaming of, there's something being hidden and there's something being covered up. And the more the story unveiled itself to me, the more I realized, what a sorry situation we got going on. And I just admire Terry Lakin for taking the stand that he did, and that's what got me initially looking into the eligibility issue and following Terry Lakin's case.
Rudy, could I ask you a question?
You have this just hugely diverse YouTube site, Lone Star 1776, right?
Yes, sir. And if anybody needs to ask any questions or, my opinion, I'm certainly willing to share it with them. So Lone Star 1776 is the right way to communicate with me.
Rudy, could I...
Lots there. So what
Marco.
are your thoughts, Rudy? Because you and I have talked a lot about Terry's action. What are some of your thoughts on the long-term consequences of what Terry's done and the potential of inaction on the part of our government?
Well, the long-term consequences, I would say, I've recently read a couple of books about Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and his role that he played in the rise of Hitler in Germany, right? And I would say that there were some in Germany that actually stood up and resisted what was going on. And Terry, I think the long-term consequence he'll have is that he is going to be one of the few in our military in the initial beginning domino, right? That stood up and said, "This is wrong. This is against our Constitution. We need, basically uphold our Constitution. That's the law of the land." And I admire Terry's stand on that. And he did it in the face of overwhelming adversity, overwhelming opposition, overwhelming ridicule, right? But he did it at great personal sacrifice. And he is what our founding father, the spirit of our founding fathers, is all about. And so I think, when I see that the universe is bent towards justice, justice will prevail. The Lord will have a witness in the earth. And so I believe that when justice comes out on this issue and when truth comes out on this issue, I foresee something like a Terry Lakin Freedom Museum. Somebody that stood up against what was going on, recognized what was going on, and stood up against it. And one thing I learned in the Dietrich Bonhoeffer book is that there was a question about Hitler's eligibility too, because he was born in Austria, right? And so the same thing that happened in Germany with Hitler, with the question about his eligibility to be leader of Germany, is the exact, almost an exact similar situation what's happened with Obama and America, and having someone stand up and to say we got to abide by our Constitution, we have the rule of the law, and it doesn't matter your color, it doesn't matter your race, your religion, that we just have to abide by our Constitution. And I respect that in Terry, and I just have huge admiration for him, as well as one of the other things we do, as my wife and I do, is we pray. We pray for all of the people that are standing up, and Terry was the one that we're getting behind that I think is a great leader, right, an inspirational leader. But there's others that are standing up. We pray for them as well, because I believe there's power in prayer.
Rudy, Marco, if I can ask Rudy a question, why do you feel like that if this hadn't caught on like wildfire, that people haven't realized what Terry has done? Instead of being 10 or 20,000 supporters, it should be in the millions of supporters, particularly our veterans. Where is it? Just would you blame it strictly on the media, such as it is, that just hadn't done a job like they should have, or are people just so complacent they won't listen to the evidence that's presented?
I think it's a variety of different things. We are very comfortable in America right now, right? I mean, we're talking about a potential financial collapse in the future, but it hasn't happened yet. There's a lot of people out of work, so I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we are very comfortable in America. And I would also, there is a lock on the media. I don't know how that has happened. I mean, I got my suspicions, but I can't say that I know for sure why the media is so silent on this issue. But I would just, and also I would say that, I get tired, and let me just speak frankly, because I don't know how to speak any way else. I get tired of being called a racist, right? And I would say that when it comes to Obama, I don't judge Obama because of this color of his skin. I judge him by his attributes as a human being and how he's leading this country. It has nothing, he could be pink, polka dot, whatever, right? But the people that defend Obama don't defend his policies, and they don't defend his leadership of the country. They defend him purely because he's a black man. And so I would say that, who is the racist in that scenario? I don't attack Obama because he's black. I don't have to justify, the fact that I am a racist or I'm not a racist. I can tell you, point blank that I'm not. But it gets old, right? Because I can tell you that being on YouTube, being an activist, going to tea parties, going to, my church congregation, and when they think, well, you're just against Obama because he's a black man. I get so tired of hearing that, So I do thank God for people like Pastor Stefan Broden, who's the black man that that ran for Congress in our Texas Congressional 30th District. He happens to be my pastor. I thank God for people like Pastor James David Manning, who's out front in this and talking about the issue. So I don't really know. I feel like I woke up in the twilight zone sometimes where, why don't we stand up for what's right for America, stand up for the Constitution and do what's right, independent of what your color is. And so, again, I would offer that one statement. I don't judge Obama because he's black, but some people defend him because he's black. So who exactly is the racist in that scenario? That's the comment I would come back with these people that, that want to claim that I'm attacking him just because he's black. And one last thing, if I could, David, regarding the whole issue about sometimes people say that it's too late, or what can we do about it now, or this is an old issue. And I think I heard a young lady by the name of Ann Barnhart say this, and so I don't want to steal her line, but it's so powerful that I thought it bared repeating. And that is, if someone broke into your house illegally and stayed there, does that make it okay? Does that make it acceptable because they stay there in your house for 3 years? No, it's not okay. I mean, we still have to be passionate about this issue. And Obama is in the White House illegally, and just because he stayed there for 3 years doesn't make it any more acceptable than the first day he moved in there. And we need people like that are willing to sacrifice at great personal sacrifice, and whatever it takes. I'm not advocating violence for anybody, but we've got to stand up for the truth at whatever cost.
Couldn't agree with you more.
What are a few things? We're down a couple of minutes here for our break. Give us just a couple of things you think the average citizen can do right now, like today, tomorrow, next week.
Well, okay, I would say pray. Number one is pray to the Lord and ask for guidance and His wisdom, right? I think the most powerful thing we can do is pray, but faith without works is dead. And so pass out flyers, call Sheriff Arpaio, call your congressman, have a placard in your yard. Don't be ashamed. There's a group called Anonymous, and everybody wants to do things anonymous. Put your name behind, where are the Americans that mean what they say and say what they mean and put their names behind, their positions. So I would say care. I talk to so many people who say, what does it matter? No, it does matter. So I want people to care, share the message, and help get the message out in any way they think is appropriate. I've called various people and videotaped it and put it up on my YouTube channel. So I suggest just care and pray and get the word out. And this is not something that's going to go away. The truth will come out.
Now, if you guys haven't seen Rudy's calls, they're really, really cool. So, again, go to YouTube, type in Lone Star 1776, and find his page and watch a few. Well, hey, Rudy, thank you so much for taking a break. I know you're busy. You're an electrical engineer, keeping things running. But we really appreciate your work and your confidence in Terry. So have a great afternoon, sir.
Hey, thank you guys. Both
in Texas, right?
Absolutely, sir. And thank you guys for having me on, and thank you guys for keeping the ball going on this critical issue. I certainly appreciate it. I know many other millions of Americans do as well.
Rudy, whereabouts in Texas are you? Rudy, whereabouts in Texas are you?
I'm off in Forney, Texas, a suburb of Dallas.
Y'all have a heck of a fire going on down in Waxahachie, as a matter of fact.
I've heard about it. I haven't had a chance to get the details on it, but I'm concerned about it.
Yeah, that's bad. Thank you very much for joining us, Rudy.
Thank you for having me, both you guys. God bless both you guys, and for standing up for the truth.
Marco, we're going to take another quick break.